Welcome to Next Chapter Conversations with your host, Drew Cost. Every life has defining moments. Moments that challenge us, change us, and ultimately shape who we become. On this show, you'll hear honest conversations with people who've embraced change, overcome obstacles, and step boldly into their next chapter. Whether you're looking for hope, fresh perspective, or the courage to begin again, you're in the right place. This is Next Chapter Conversations.
Tony, share a little bit of your story. Let's be as transparent as you feel you want to be.
All right, we'll start back as far as I can go with be as a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was a normal kid like everybody else, well, normal dude for the kind of dudes that I'm used to. We was cut from going outside and having to be quote unquote tough from day one, stepping outside. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say tough, I mean chest out, chin up. I don't care what's happening. Almost to the fact where we had to learn how to become numb to a lot of things that I would say kids now could possibly get spooked by. You know what I mean? So we seriously, you know what I mean? Just without going into details of some of those things, but yeah, it was tough outside back when I came up, but we had to be numb, and we was taught, as a male, showing emotions and feelings that was negative. Off rip, it was a negative. You know what I mean? Nothing to cry about. I don't care what's happening. Like, no, you eat that and you keep going. And I thought that was law, right? Fast forward in my life, fast forward in life, I hit a lot of roadblocks that taught me that with our school, with the old head schooled me too, growing up, probably it wasn't all the way accurate, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that.
So I remember 2007 losing my mother. I was a mother's boy. I lost my mother, and because the way I was brought up, you had to be tough. I tried to eat that. I tried to put it in my backpack with the rest of the stuff that I might have been on. You feel me? And that led to me doing what I think 2026, a popular word would be, it led to me crashing out a lot. You know what I mean? Making a lot of mistakes. You feel me? Not knowing, not understanding emotionally intelligent. Communicate I was feeling properly. You know what I mean? Fast forward on, lost my father. Same thing. You know what I mean? They treated it the same way, still didn't understand how to communicate that properly. But I always loved music, so I would put it in music, write rhymes about it. That was my healthy therapy, right? Alongside the drinking that might have came with smoking and just, doing things that I thought would work. And music helped a lot until we're gonna be transparent, so we'll talk about it until I had to wear this on my neck, right? So I told you about I had a son that was in the Navy, right? And he was stationed out in Connecticut. Great kid, right? Complete opposite of me. The mistakes I'm telling you I made, he made none of them. He was a great kid. But if we think about how when it comes to generational cycles, right? Generational curses cycles, a lot of us think it's just finances, right?
Yep.
It ain't just finances. It's the seeds we planted to our kids. They carry that along and they carry it and they pass it on to their kids and they pass it on. Right? Mentality. You know what I mean? So like I just told you, I grew up, Shawty, you got to be tough. I don't care what's going on. Ain't no sad thing, no feelings. Man don't show no feelings. Man go handle his business. You feel me? That's what I was taught. So that's what I taught him. And listen to when I say a great kid, a great man. He was a father, a great father. You feel me? Like I learned a lot just watching him things what I feel like I could have did better as a father, right? So, I think a mistake I made, and I've been dealing with therapy I've been taking therapy classes about this, but
nice.
A mistake I feel like I made, Drew, was I taught him what I knew before I realized what I was taught was incorrect, right? I taught him to put that in the bag, chest up, chin out. You a man, you feel me? You could talk to your father about anything, but I've been putting that philosophy and that ideology in his head of what a man is, how a man's supposed to be built to be a Superman at all times. I've been putting that in his head so long that, as a man, there's certain things you feel like, oh yeah, I know I can talk to my boss, but you know what I'm saying? Make you feel less of a man. And so it got to the point where my son had a roadblock, a different kind of roadblock. You understand? Uh, some things, some of us can tote certain weight better than others. You know what I mean? Circumstances can change how that weight feels on some of us, right? And my son hit a roadblock that he wasn't able to yeah, he went to the totem, you feel me? And he checked that, for lack of better words, you understand? You know, and that was back in April. You feel me?
That just passed.
Back in April of this year. Yeah, April 12th to be exact. You feel me?
You said something earlier, Tony, that I wanna ask you about to hear or offer support. You said when my mom died, I put it in my backpack like I did everything else. What would it have felt like to not put it in your backpack?
I think it would have been close to what I'm starting to experience now. It would have, off rip, I know I would have felt human. I would have felt like I had to be Superman, like I had to be an android or something. You know what I mean? Because, like I say, that's how we were raised outside. You know what I mean? A lot of guys. I still know a lot of guys who bread bowls on the street. You feel me? That's cool, but in a real street, want out the streets, and we want to see something different. We want to learn something different. We want a different mentality, because that mentality is a cycle itself. And I think if I allowed myself, another thing, I believe in transparency and accountability. If I allowed myself to go through, you know what I mean, to go through the grieving phases, I think a lot of decisions I made and other losses I've taken in my life, I think I would have been able to manage them better and get balanced a lot easier. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, like, bro, I don't know you from a can of paint, bro, but this is an opportunity for me to, because it's hard to do. I ain't gonna lie, this is a challenge, bro.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you doing it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate your platform for allowing people like me to be able to tell our story, and with the hopes that somebody else that can't speak can, you know what I mean, this can be a voice for them now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But to answer your question,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
Now, I was saying, to answer your question, I think I would have been able to, if I would have allowed myself to, to push my ego out the way and my pride out the way, I would have been able to go through that situation a lot better. And I probably could, and I'm 100% sure I would have prevented a lot of things that has transpired since. You feel me? Yeah.
Now, so the reason why I asked that is because I'm a man also, and I'm on the side of every man needs a group of men who they can be accountable to, transparent with, so that they don't feel that they have to make decisions that they don't really want to, but they grew up, like you said, if we grew up seeing that you can't share emotions, you got to be tough, chest out, chin up. If you grow up that way, it's no longer ego. It's almost like this is all I know. But you're saying if you're saying like if I would have just shared some of those emotions and things like that, maybe I wouldn't have made certain decisions. Do you find yourself like feeling like regret for any of it?
Um, for the sake of accountability, I would say I regret not allowing myself to be human, but also I embraced the fact that it was a learning curve that I was able to learn something from. And I mean, I hate the way that it had to happen for me to finally, for the light bulb to finally go off. But it was a learning curve within itself, you know.
Mm.
So it's kind of, 50-50, Yeah.
How are you able to see the good out of it where that's a painful thing that happened?
That's a good question, brother. And if I speak about the last situation that happened in August, I'm still looking for it. I'm still
Mm.
searching. I'm still digging. Yeah, yeah. And it could be a lifetime. It could be next lifetime when I finally figure it out. But I'm still searching for that answer. Yeah.
I respect it. Tony, if I were to say, hey, who who is Tony if we take away all pain that has happened? Who is Tony?
Everybody best friend.
Mm.
In real life, yeah. And honestly, I'm not saying that to say it. Like everybody best friend, guaranteed Superman. You know what I mean? Like I got you, like on every level. Cause that's who my mother was. I take
Mm.
after my mother. I was a real mother's boy, and I really take after her. My mama was one of the most empathetic people I ever met in my life. Like um, me and my brother, man. We're from the west side of our city, in the street we grew up on. When I tell you, weekends, it's 40 kids outside. You know what I mean?
Wow,
Like
wow.
on the weekend, my mother was everybody's mother. You always say that lady in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was my
yeah.
mother. She was
Wow.
everybody's mother. Yeah, the parents were with my mom fed everybody. I don't know how she did it because we didn't have money like that, but she figured it
Mm.
out. All these kids ate. You know what I mean? Everybody was happy. We went in up beds. We only had two beds in the room, two bunk beds. You feel me? So everybody slept on the floor. You know what I mean? My mother was like that. She was always about community, right? And that just kind of rubbed off on me. And she, like, that's why I say, take away uh, the dark side. The lighter side would be everybody best friend, big brother to everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you feel you still could be that way?
I am with family. I am, because I still have other kids. I got grandkids. You know what I mean. So they still keep life in me. You feel me? Like it's a
Mm.
I don't. I'm not dealing with I'm not dealing with a giving up type of feeling. You know what I mean? I still got life in me. You know what I mean? Because of my son's siblings. You feel me? Like
Mm.
they still keep you know what I mean? I still got things to fight for. You feel me? People to fight
Mm.
for.
Now, with all
Yeah,
of
man.
that, you mentioned mom dying, dad dying, son dying. You don't come off as a person who is mad at the world. Like you come off like there's still some reason why you are still here. Like does that resonate with you?
Yeah, man, I got my younger brother, dog. I like to call him my older brother because he's like my spiritual guide. You feel me? He keeps me balanced a lot, and we always have conversations about, man, I know everybody feel like they was everybody is here for a reason. We all got a purpose. But me and my brother conversate a lot about that. Like, man, it's a reason that we end up in the positions that we end up in. Things happen to us the way they happen. Synchronicity is so powerful in our life, because it's something bigger for us. Like something we feel that in our soul. We know it. Like it's something bigger for us. Don't know what it is. You know what I mean? And we got to have more patience in the hospital till that day happens. But it's you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
It's something bigger, man. Like and I truly believe that, brother, and that's what I would call my faith.
Hmm.
Knowing it's something bigger out there that's way. You know,
He-
yeah.
Here's what I want to say this, and you always can feel free to take it or leave it. But hearing you talk, for people who will see this, um, I know this episode is going to help people because the Wi-Fi for some reason is going in and out on my end. For some reason, we had to switch platforms, and we were supposed to talk last week, and then my schedule. So I know this is going to help somebody for something, but Tony, this is what I feel that you might be on this earth for still. Like I don't take it for granted to say people have purpose. I think everyone has purpose, but I think a bigger part of your purpose is almost helping men actually tap into their emotions and share it to the point where they don't they don't give up and cave in. And the reason why I'm saying that is you've had enough pain and heartache to understand both sides. What does it feel like to shut it all up? And then what does it feel like to be able to start getting it out? So for me, just knowing you for just for this short time, I'm like, this, it's written all over this dude's face that he's supposed to help men actually learn their emotions, share their emotions, and realize it's more gangster to share emotions than it is to hold it in and you die with it. Does that how does
I
that
agree.
sound?
I agree. Man, I totally agree, bro. I totally agree. Yes, yes. Yeah, and one thing I've been doing with the music is trying to do that, speak from my experiences, like the real experiences, from the hurt places, you know what I mean? And, and just shed light on like, man, hey, you ain't the only one. Cause I know growing up listening to music, I was attracted to artists who made me feel like, oh man, he feel like me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm
yeah.
going through that. You know what I mean? Like I feel him shout it. Like I'm literally going through that. So that's where I'm at with in my creative process with music right now. Like crazy that I literally just created a record called 1-800 Helpline. You know what I mean? Because
Wow.
even though mental health has become a trend word, it's a real life thing, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Where
man. So
you
go ahead.
meant you mentioned tapping into music when you're younger or even now. Who's an artist that like made you say, like, hey, this dude is going through something that I'm familiar with? Who's an artist or a song?
Scarface, Pimp
Scarface.
C. You know what I mean? Trick
Yeah.
Daddy. Like I related to those guys growing up because I had a tough upbringing that could have been different if I chose to do something else. You know what I mean? But
Mm,
I was they say product of your environment. I chose to be a product of my environment. I was curious. You know what I mean? I
okay.
needed to see all sides. You feel me? Like
Okay.
no cap. Like I'm dead serious, brother. And not just I was a knucklehead, but not a dumbass, right? Super
Mm-hmm.
smart at school. You know what I mean? Play ball. You know what I mean? A student. You know what I mean? But I, w- I was addicted to challenges. You know what I mean? I still kind of am. I'm addicted to a
Mm,
challenge. You feel me? I can get my work did, slip on up out the class, I'm back to the PJs. Everybody say to school, I done did my work. You know what I mean? The teacher like, okay, his attendance bad, but he getting his work. You feel me? He keep coming here smelling like this. He keep doing this. He keep, you know what I mean? He doing
yeah.
too much. But and plus, like I said, I did music I was doing music when I was young too, and that for anybody young that want to get into the entertainment business, I would strongly that their parents are involved because I jumped in young, and you definitely get introduced to adulthood fast too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember being 14, 15 in the nightclubs. You know what I mean? Like I remember that
Mm,
life. You feel me? So yeah, so when
mm,
it came to like the stuff that was going in the schools and stuff, like kids from school, like I was kind of advanced already past them. So the streets is what
mm.
had my attention. The grown folk stuff that had my attention. So I was curious. I'm into that. I'm already there. You feel me? In my mind, I'm already there. You feel me? And I got taught. You know what I mean? The way I comprehend it, the way as an adult now, I comprehended the things that come with being an adult. I comprehended them totally. You know what I mean? You know, and that's why anything that a child is trying to do, I think it's very important that the parents are involved. You know what I mean, as much as possible. Even if I don't been a teenager, you don't been a teenager. You know, we get aggravated with our parents. Feel like they're just on our neck. No, it's for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need that. Yeah.
Where
You need somebody to go ahead.
I was gonna say, you mentioned almost being an adult at 14, seeing all the stuff,
Yeah,
doing all the stuff.
yeah.
What made you so curious with saying, I'm gonna still be a genius, but I gotta go to the PJs? What made it so curious for you?
I mean, I was naturally smart. I feel like you know, even to this day, I'm still, you know, I'm still intelligent. You know what I mean? I still enjoy reading. You know what I mean? And I think my surroundings, my physical surroundings, my physical environment, it's like my parents didn't have it like that, so I learned how to sell dope. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. Money is very attractive, and it's a lot come with money. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? It's a lot more attractive things come with that. You feel me? I got hip to that. You know what I mean? You know, uh neighborhood organizations. You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
know, all these things are outside. It's a lot of motion outside. You feel me? You know, so it was just very appealing to me. You feel me? And I gravitated to it naturally. And I became a part of it and it excelled in it quite naturally. So it was just
Mm-hmm.
caught up in it. You know what I mean? I was up in it. The influence that I had and the things that influenced me, I can't I would say it's good and the bad. It was the good and the bad. And as a child, you know, I was influenced by a lot of the bad because still had a child mind, still maturing, right? You know what I mean? But looking
Yep.
at it now, yep, looking at it now in hindsight, a lot of decisions that I make now and a lot of the wisdom that I can give my kids now, you feel me? It definitely reflects some of the things that I experienced growing up. I'm glad I experienced that so I could prepare my kids for certain things. You know what I mean?
It
Yeah,
all
man.
it all makes sense now because we hear the term yeah, you become a product of your environment. And it will be foolish for people to be
Mhm.
like, well, just change the environment. You'd be like, no, there's some reason why you're attracted to an environment
Mhm.
or what it's doing for you. What's some advice you would give? Let's say you meet a 14-year-old kid and he's getting curious about an environment that may not be advantageous for him. Like, how do you tell him that, hey, maybe don't go that route?
I would tell them off rip. Think about it. Whatever you do, do it with intention. You know, what's your real intention? Now, questions tend to trigger a part of our mind. You know what I mean? Outside of telling somebody to do something, you ask them a question, it triggers a part of their mind that gives them time to think about it. That's where the accountability kicks in. You know what I mean? And you get room to
Mm,
figure out what their real intentions is. You know, because that kid might just want to fit in. That kid might feel like he's nobody. That kid, you know, whether it's a he or a she, they might just want to be accepted because they don't get that at home. So questions are real, you know what I mean? And
mm,
relevant questions that, you know, see some, you know, speaking to some where they instead of like, I'm here and you there. Now speak to them from where they at. See them eye to eye. You know what I mean? My first thing would be that, you know, trying to meet them where they at. You feel me?
mm-hmm.
And I would just like I would you know, remind them just like I remind anybody, man. You know, of course, it ain't what you do, is how you do it. But if you want to change your physical environment, you got to change your mental environment first. This is the first thing that got to
Yeah,
change. You know what I mean?
yeah. How do you advise 14-year-old, or better yet, how do you advise a 30-year-old man to change his mind when he's like, I've always done this? It reminds me of the song, you'll probably know it because you're into music. Nas used to have this song, Second Childhood. And he literally talks
Yeah,
about he
yeah.
talks about you go back to doing the same exact things you did when you were a child. But how do you how do
Mhm.
you how do you get a grown man to change?
Right. And that's it's a good question, right? Because testimony of a grown man that, man, couldn't nothing but God change. I tell somebody quick, but ain't never God gonna change my mind. I'm gonna do what I do, shout it. Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean? That was me, right? But you know what I did? I had to hit a wall. And we all hit different walls at different times in life. You know what I mean? So we can't make nobody do nothing. The only person we can force to do anything is ourselves. I don't care who it is. We can't make nobody. We can influence. We can plant seeds, and that's literally all you can do with anybody. You feel me? We feel like we make children do things, but to make somebody do something, that must come out of fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A real friend. You know what I mean? Friend, somebody that you care about. You're not forcing them, trying to make them do anything, but you will you would suggest advice. You know what I mean? And advice from experience. If you haven't experienced, it's not much you can tell them anyway. But if it's something that they're doing, you know, you done been down that road, you done hit that wall, you definitely can suggest your advice on, hey, yeah, look, it's on you now if you want to do that. You can make that right. But if you make that right, shout, I promise to God, you're gonna fall off that cliff.
Yeah.
On my mama. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen. Ain't no way around it, ain't no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's tricky, man, because you got to think it's circumstantial in a way, because every situation would be different with every person, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I wish I had the answer that you can use universal. You know what I'm saying? Where you this phrase right here would just resonate with every single person. Because if it did, it would have resonated with me a long time ago. I wouldn't have had to hit my walls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you said something that I think is universal. You said everybody's circumstance is different, but you said I would be finding out what is he looking for, because most people would never ask the question, or they would never think this kid is trying to be down with this crew because he don't feel that he fit in anywhere. And
Right.
that's a big thing for a 14-year-old or even 30-year-old man to be like, I don't fit in nowhere. I must be a square, or I got to do something so that I start feeling like everybody else. So I think that's universal, saying find out what they really want. I don't think anybody goes to a bad environment for the sake of I want to see how far I can go.
Right.
I think they're always searching for something, and they don't know at first what they're searching for, but you got somebody like you who is telling them like, hey, you can go to the right, but there's a cliff there, and you're not gonna live if you go off that cliff. So my last question, and I would love to have you again on the show, because I feel there's so much layers to how far we can go with this conversation, especially for men. My last question, I asked you, who's Tony without the pain, and you said everybody's best friend. Could Tony with the pain still be that person?
Yes, sir. I truly believe so. You know, and you know, like you said about the like the Nas song, Second Childhood. That's what I'm living right now. You know what I mean? And I'm human, you know, I'm learning how to be human. Like, if that makes sense, I'm learning how to be human again. You know what I mean? I feel like I haven't been, you know, allowing myself to be human since I was maybe like 13 years old, jumping out the porch. You know what I mean? You know, I decided to jump off in adulthood real early, and that came with a lot of programming, you know. So this is my second childhood, you know, and I'm embracing it. And with embracing it, it comes for the need of connection. You feel me?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we all want to connect to something, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm still trying to understand it, because it's totally different than how I was raised to be a man. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
you know, being more in touch with, I got a daughter who I love to death. She keeps me on my soft side, but the gentle side, but you know what I mean? I need that overall. I need to not just have her as a crutch. I need to learn how to, you know, be
Yeah.
100% human. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
I think one of the easiest ways to start it as a man, even outside of therapy, I think one of the ways to start it is when feelings come up, don't push it down. Like, legit find somebody, even if it's me, find somebody to text and be like, "Hey, oh, bro, I'm feeling this today," or da da da. And the reason why I say that is because I used to hold all my emotions in to the pack.
Right.
I had a couple backpacks, just, and I
Mhm.
was just like, "Ain't nobody about to know nothing."
Right.
I don't do that until I realized one day that backpack will become your detriment.
Yes. Yes.
So I just started saying, I'm gonna just say how I feel to other people and just see what happens. And you realize people sometimes are waiting for
Yeah.
you to say what you feel because they're like, we see you carrying 30 backpacks and you're telling us you're
Yeah.
perfect.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
you're perfectly fine. But I think men need to find healthy men to be like, hey, ain't no judgment. This is what I'm feeling today. Let me get it off my chest so that I don't do something that I don't want to actually do or end up regretting
Right.
it.
Absolutely. That is very true, man. I agree with that 100%, man. And like it definitely needs to become more normalized for men to be able to do that. For us to become comfortable because one thing I always say, man, like I say, when it came to my son, I told him like, hey, it's wicked out here, man. It's wicked for a dude. It's a certain ideal of how men are looked at, whether people want to admit it or not, right? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us tend to live up to that limitation that is on us, right? You know what I mean? Like we're not really 100% human. We're just here for this. You know what I mean? And I think it needs to be normalized in a way where there is more platforms. And I would usually say lanes, but platforms, because platforms like podcasts the social
Yeah,
media, just everything that's socially engineered. That is what connect the masses more than anything now. So
absolutely.
more platforms where men can be open and honest in a safe setting, though. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because as a man, the moment we finally allow ourselves to be vulnerable, show our vulnerable side, and it gets crossed, it never happens.
It never happens
The
again.
gate
Yeah.
closed forever. You
The
feel
door's
me?
closed for
And
every.
yeah, and I think every man on the planet, though, I think they can agree with that. That's the scariest thing for a man to ever do, be vulnerable, because
Mm,
it's a wicked world. We
it's a
got
wicked
to,
one.
and I hate that. I hate it's like that, but you know, but thank you for being one of the places where, even starting with me, I can feel comfortable speaking, you know what I mean, openly.
Oh,
Thank you for that, man.
appreciate it, man. So, guys, I'm pretty sure you're gonna see Tony again because I'm gonna make sure I stay connected with this brother because he has a lot of wisdom, a lot of understanding, a lot of patience, and he has a lot to say. And we always want to make sure people can tell their stories so that they can help the next person out. So, guys, we will see you again, guys.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Next Chapter Conversations. If today's conversations inspired you, encouraged you, or helped you see your own story differently, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's ready for their next chapter. Until next time, remember, your story isn't over. The best chapters are still waiting to be written. We'll see you in the next conversation.